As I've said before, that you and President Obama have done more in the administration's first 4 years to enforce immigration laws and strengthen border security than in years leading up to this administration. You have more than 21,000 agents in the Border Patrol, more than any point in history. New technologies have been deployed to the border. Apprehensions along the border, the lowest we see in decades because people are deterred from trying to cross. And according to the report by the Migration Policy Institute, the United States now spends more money in immigration enforcement agencies than it does on all our major federal law enforcement put together. So I think it's time to start talking about reforming the immigration system. We'll do enforcement. We're doing more enforcement than ever before, but that should not be a bar to having good immigration reform. It's a long past time for us to reform our immigration system. We need an immigration system that lives up to American values, one that allows families to be reunited and safe, one that treats individuals with humanity and respects due process and civil liberties, one that shields the most vulnerable among us, including children and crime victims and asylum seekers and refugees, one that helps to reinvigorate our economy and enrich our communities. We built 650 miles of fence along the border. DHS estimates that cost at $2.5 billion. I remember you saying in 2005, show me a 50-foot wall, and I'll show you a 51-foot ladder. More fencing wouldn't have done anything about the case in Boston. Is if we have limited resources, and considering the significant gains have been made in the last 4 years, is $1.5 billion the most cost-effective way to spend what are, after all, limited resources?
Mr. Chairman, obviously, if the Congress decides that's where they want to put some money, we will comply. But I will share with you that we would prefer having money not so designated so that we can look at technologies. They can be ground-based, air-based, what have you, manpower, other needs that may be more fitting to actually prevent illegal flows across the southwest border. So if we had our druthers, we would not so designate a fence fund per se.
You'd like flexibility.
We would like flexibility.
Speaking of immigration, I explained my concern about proposals in which citizenship is always over the next mountain. I want the pathway to be clear. I want it to be citizenship not to be just available, but attainable. And sometimes they're two different things. This legislation has several triggers that have to be met before people could earn green cards. People come forward, wait for 10 years to get their green cards, but then they're going to a state of limbo. That worries me. Are the triggers in the legislation truly attainable?
As I reviewed the legislation, there are really three triggers. One is the submission of the plans and their substantial completion, as Senator Grassley referred to. One is the implementation of a national employer verification system, and one is the implementation of an electronic entry-exit system. Those particular triggers, if you want to call them that, are already part of our plans, and I believe that we can satisfy them in the upcoming years.